let's say someone's very type A person, they're going to want to see results, right? Versus someone who may be type B, there might be a little bit more emotional attachment to it, right? So how can we play on those two? Let's say
Sami, SalesJump, nice to have you on today.
pleasure to be here, Christian. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are yourself?
I'm doing well, thank you for asking.
So where are you located again?
I'm located up in Canada, in a city called Calgary.
Nice. How's the weather over there?
It's a little rainy, but I mean, we'll take it. Last year, this time it was like plus 30 degrees Celsius, so I'll take a little bit of the cool weather this year.
Nice. I'm very glad to have you on. Can you tell us a little bit more on who you are and what you do?
Yeah, so obviously my name is Sami. I'm the founder and CEO here at SalesJump. Essentially, what we do is we work with coaches, consultants, B2B, B2C offers, helping them scale through leveraging inbound sales teams, outbound sales teams. A big thing that we do is instead of just placing a sales team, a rep, hoping that they perform, we actually train, manage, and ensure that those KPIs that you expect from any sales team are being met. On top of that, we do implement sales systems, whether it's building out CRM flows to really nurture those leads, so you're not solely dependent on the sales rep to make those phone calls. You also have an automated system to back up your sales team, so that you're not really leaving any lead behind.
Nice. That takes me a little bit in on the question that I wanted to run with you today. So, what's your system to make sure that no leads ever gets forgotten, like even the ones that ghost?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get that question a lot. So a big thing is we use automation such as email, SMS, right? And a great example is, let's say a lead comes in, they don't book a call, because when you think about it, when a new lead comes in, whether it's for marketing, whatever it is, one of two things: either they're going to book a call or they're not going to book a call. Right? They don't book a call, you expect this sales rep to make the phone call to them. Let's say the rep calls them a couple of times, they don't answer. Really, a lot of times they get stuck in this weird place where there's nothing really happening, right? So what we do is we implement SMS and email outreach. So obviously tailored to each offer, where we're nurturing them with valuable information, whether it's like who you are, what you do, and the results that you've gotten, or a combination of those, right? And we're nurturing your leads for an extended period of time. Ultimately, the big goal here is to either get them onto a phone call, onto a demo call, or them to say, hey, I'm just not interested. Either way is fine, right? We rather have a clear yes or a clear no versus just this place where there's nothing, right? No communication happening.
Okay. And how do you use automation to force a clear yes or no instead of chasing forever? How would that look like?
Yeah, let's say, for example, you have a lead come in and they might never respond, right? I think a lot of times people give up and say they're not interested, but a lot of times what I've seen is that they just haven't got the valuable information, right? So going back to my point is, let's say someone's very type A person, they're going to want to see results, right? Versus someone who may be type B, there might be a little bit more emotional attachment to it, right? So how can we play on those two? Let's say if I have an offer and they want to see results, showcasing the results in a meaningful way and getting a clear call to action, right? Because if they're truly interested, they will respond yes, or yeah, I'd love to speak. But if they're not interested, either they're going to opt out from the email or they're going to apply stop, right? And then you have your answer. So it's just giving them valuable information instead of just bombarding them with random text messages. Hey, are you going to book a call? Hey, are you going to book a call? That doesn't work. It's people. Everyone loves to buy, but everyone hates being sold. So keep it less salesy, more like teachable and results focused.
So I think a lot of people can relate to having a CRM full of old information. Like you have all these old contacts, you might not really do anything with them. What would you say would be the first sequence you would set up for someone in that scenario? Let's say you have 100 leads and
Mhm.
no sales team. What would be the first sequence you would set up in such scenario?
In that case, I would start off with a rewarm sequence to get people re-engaged, right? They've already opted in, whether they've had communication, if they haven't had communication, it's regardless, they've opted in to learn more about your offer. So the first thing that I would do is I'd build out about a six to 8 week SMS sequence where we're targeting them for the first few weeks, 3 messages a week, SMS and email. I will do that for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then I'll wind down to about 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 messages per week, where I'm nurturing them with valuable content. Whether it be, hey, so and so got this result, or hey, I made this video showcasing how my product or service works, right? And then I might even throw in like a meme or a GIF to break the pattern, but I would nurture them with content that's valuable. Now, let's say I don't have a sales team. I would either push them into a funnel where it's like a sales funnel, or if in my case, I would hop on and close that deal myself, right? Ultimately, it is getting them engaged. You have these leads, sending them 1 or 2 messages isn't it. It's nurturing them for that long series of time. Because let's say you have the 100, let's say out of that 100, 50 opt out, you have another 50 who are like, I am interested, let's hypothetically, but really only 20% of those are qualified. Now you have 10 people, let's say out of those 50, out of those 20 who qualified, let's say 10 of them close, right? That is, 10 deals that you would have never had off of a list that most people look at and say is dead, right? But really, a lot of these guys are sitting on gold mines. This is how do I activate that gold mine to get those leads to actually respond and move forward with your product or service. And this works on a cold list, this works on an old list, works on a new list. The psychology is people are the same. We just have to tap into each different types of each buyer psychology to get them to make a response. Right?
Yeah, I agree. Can you walk us through one automation that directly led to a closed deal?
Sure. So we worked with one client, and leading up to date, they did over about 250K. They were a high ticket offer. We came in and they had a list of about 1,000 people. They had no sales team, they had nothing. So we came in, we implemented a sales team, and we built them out a series of SMS. So this client was perfect. And the reason I said that is these SMSs are great, but they do require work on the client's end in the sense of we need to provide content, right? Content that actually matters. So we work with them to help create content that was, showcasing results, showcasing their system, and all of that. And we took that thousand leads, and we turned it into over $250,000 within a span of 3 months, right? And this was directly off of cold SMS, of course, closing, right? So now what we did was we kept it very simple. We got their content, we sent it to their leads in meaningful ways, and let's say they showed up or they no-showed, they found they were interested. We didn't give up, even if they didn't show, and after showing interest, we will still nurture them with new content, right? So it was a combination of the right nurture material based on that for that client, all leading back to their website and their offer, and then having a strong setting and closing team who's on the phone with them, right? Because if you're bringing in 50, 100 leads per day, follow-up becomes a little bit hard for your sales team. So this kind of complemented it and leaves no lead unturned. So they're always having some touch point until obviously some people are going to say yes, let's speak, or they're going to opt out, and at that point you've gotten your answer.
Which is so important, right? To get that status of the lead, right? Whether we have a ongoing deal or not,
Exactly.
right? To be able to keep a clean pipeline, which was my next question. Like, how do you keep your pipeline full and clean at the same time using automation?
It's a great question. So it does take a little bit of work from having a person in there to put the right input, but a clean pipeline is a healthy pipeline, right? You have new leads coming in. We need to make sure those new leads are not getting lost. So setting up automations for each stage of the buyer journey, right? So a great example is let's say you're running ads, Christian. Your leads are either going to do one of two things. And I'm talking more like high ticket offer where there's a call that's required to make a purchase. Either they're going to book a time on your calendar or they're not. They're going to give you their information. It's going to sit dormant, right? If they book a call, super easy. You have your book call. So right, but if they don't book a call, we still want the setter or closer to call them, but we should still be nurturing them during that period, right? So we don't want any delays, right? Especially when when there's so much, people's attention spans is quite short, right? So we nurture them throughout that whole process. Now let's say the next part of that sales process is, hypothetically, they schedule a call but they don't show, right? Now we need to nurture those guys throughout that no-show process to get them re-engaged. Now let's say they show for the call, but they're on the fence, they haven't made a decision. Let's still nurture them through that process to keep them on top of front of mind, right? Just because they said no today, it might not be a right time. Maybe they have other stuff going. We can't just say good luck and we'll reach out shortly. Let's still nurture them, right? Obviously, timing and sequence for these, it changes vastly during the whole sales process, but we still need to be making sure that we're connecting with each person. Now, let's say the person, if there is a person responds to a text message, right? We need to be very well aware of that, right? So setting up a stage in pipeline, lead response, right? If they respond and they're interested, they move into a book call stage, right? And that way it's like a well-organized machine, right? We know throughout the process where that sales lead, where that lead is at all times. We don't have someone get lost in, in the madness that, especially generating high volume of leads. You have to have an efficient system to manage those leads, or else sales reps are going to drop or lose money, which in turn leads to your company losing money. So hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What like if you want to wake your old leads up, like let's say now we talked about having a huge database. We wanna make sure that we're waking them up, and we've tried that, and nothing did happen. We now sit with a bunch of leads again, right, where we don't have any action. Would you wake up those old cold leads again at some point to try
Of
to
course,
make them hot again?
of
And
course,
how
of
would you do that?
course. So I was still a big fan of making phone calls. So let's say you have a new lead, or you have like a day where you require your reps to follow up. That's the perfect time. So have your reps call them, right? If they answer, obviously continue with that conversation and wherever it goes. But if they don't answer, let's have a reactivation campaign set up, right? So the reps still call them. I don't want people to think that I can just rely on SMS. The phone call is still king. So you have that phone call with them. If they don't answer, you push them into a nurture sequence. You continue throughout that trajectory. So now that 1,000 leads, if one rep is making 100, 200 calls per day, those 1,000 leads are now turning into 800 leads. Now, if you have 3 reps doing this, that's how many 600 leads, right? So we're hitting it bit by bit, allowing the automation to work and see what works and see what isn't working. Because sometimes some messaging isn't aligned. We can adjust that, but I don't always recommend pushing people into a bulk flow without having it ran for a little bit to make sure that it actually connects and the messaging is right for your audience.
Makes sense. When scaling a sales organization, what roles does lead scoring and smart follow-up play the way you build it?
I think it's very important. If a lead showed up to a closing call, but they didn't close, they have a higher score, right? If you're capturing information and the lead might put, I'm not making money, then they're gonna have a lower score. Doesn't mean we don't call them. I mean, clearly we know people lie, right? But it's being able to know who's your hottest leads and focus mainly on those ones first and then trickle down, right? So having a good scoring system to know, hey, how many times have I called this person? I want to track that, right? How many messages have they responded to? I want to track that, right? And there's so many different ways to do it. It's just what makes the most sense for you and your system.
Yeah, makes absolute sense. I like that. And let's say now someone sits on old CRM data, a whole bunch of them, and they just new to go high level. What would you say be the first thing that they should automate? What would be the number one first thing to dig into?
Yeah. So first things first is I would start off with the reactivation campaign. I would write it for 8 weeks. So 8 weeks where you're sending week one, you're sending 3 messages, 3 emails and SMS messages a day. And the sequence should be very simple. Intro message, hey, who I am. It was me who just called. Second message should be like, it could be a result, a testimonial, teachable content. Third message should be one of those three. I was to do like teachable content, results, and like a case study. And then I would follow that up for 2 weeks, follow that same sequence. Week two, I would maybe throw in like a meme or a GIF, something just to break the pattern. And I'll continue with that sequence for 8 weeks. And then the content should be meaningful. So it should be video content that links back to your website or your social media channel, whatever it is that addresses their concern. You have to understand your customer. Then you could also throw in screenshots, right? Because not everyone feels comfortable clicking a link. I've noticed that. So here's a screenshot of Bob who did X in Y period of time. Something relates back to your offer. So throwing that into your funnel. So then that way, if I'm looking at it, I can simply reply yes. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's being able to really nurture them, but in a way where you're sending them results and you're not just sending them bullshit messages, right? Because we've all got text messages from a bunch of emojis, a bunch of memes, but it has no sustenance. You could send a 2-line message with a really strong with a strong video or call to action or even a screenshot that's going to do a lot more for you than a paragraph that most people probably aren't going to read and are going to be annoyed.
Yeah, we've seen video reviews being king in these scenarios.
Yeah.
Being
Right.
able to showcase your product, like show don't tell, right? So showcase your product, being able to back that up with social proof, other
Mm-hmm.
real humans, not only screenshots and
Yes.
pictures. It's very easy to copy today.
Yep.
But actually, one of your clients or one of your collaborators or whatever
Mm-hmm.
to actually like vouch for you and see, this is what we did, this was the outcome in this period of time.
Mm-hmm.
It creates that level of trust that will take down the barrier and increase your conversion rates.
Absolutely, yeah. That is it. Because I mean, Trustpilot, they're great. We love it. But let's be real here. I can go on Trustpilot and write a review under some random name, and it can be anything, right? But if there's a video review of you and that person or your client saying, Sami or Christian did this, I really loved it. That's gonna take you a lot further, right? And
Yeah.
some of our clients are in the automation space where now they're showcasing their clients' results, where their results are speaking for them, right? So it's like I said, it's unique to yours, but don't strictly rely on your trust pile to do all the work for you, right?
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for jumping on, Sami. It's been lovely to have you on.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for all the insights, and I hope to have you on soon again.
Likewise, Mr. Christian, thank you so much.